In today's Leeds news, Leeds interested in Ben Johnson, Leeds still keen on defender, Barisic interest, and Roberts move not yet. Hey folks, Jay here on Friday the 12th of January with your Leeds United news. Hope you're all having a really good week. To everybody who sat through the 20 minutes yesterday and watched the Jesse Marsh debrief, I suppose, thank you for watching that, and thanks for everyone that put the comments in saying you watched it. And I really appreciate that. It was a long one, I know it was. That's why I tried to break it down to start and say it was split in two. Back to normal today, and we'll be going forward. Just when these kind of things pop up, I think it's worthwhile kind of covering them in one video instead of doing separate videos and that kind of stuff. So anyway, there's a bit of news floating around, and we didn't get a chance to do the match preview last night. Unfortunately, Andrew was sick, so we are planning on getting back together and doing that for the Preston game, so we'll have that. Basics in that, there's a lot of injuries for Leeds coming into the game against Cardiff. Pascal Stroke is out injured, Liam Cooper will be out injured as well. Sam Byram did train and he's back in contention, so is Junior Firpo, so there's good and bad there as well. Also on the defenders front, he was asked about the Charlie Cresswell situation, and what he said about Charlie Cresswell was basically that the player's head's not exactly where it needs to be, that he's doing fine in training. There's no attitude issue here. He said he hasn't done anything wrong. He's just saying that he's not 100% focused. He wants to be the first choice, and he's very disappointed not being first choice, and being the fourth choice seems to be affecting his mental state, and he's not being 100% focused on what he needs to do. And Daniel Farke said he won't be considering the player until he does get his focus back, either in looking for a move and sorting a solution away from the club, or getting his head down and settling that he is the fourth choice centre back and working hard on that. Because if he had worked on that, he'd be getting his chance this weekend. But as it now appears, we'll probably see Ilya Gruev play in midfield and Ethan Ampadu play centre back again because of that. So that's the updates pretty much on that. Moving on, let's get into the news, and let's start off with talking about some potential incomings. And all of today's news relates to potential incomings to Leeds United, and we'll start off with Ben Johnson. And according to The Athletic, Leeds are interested in a loan move for West Ham fullback Ben Johnson. Johnson can play right back and left back, and is very much a style of player that Daniel Farke likes. If you go back to the summer, Daniel Farke tried to bring in Max Aarons, another player who could play right and left back. And then you also look at Leeds signing Sam Byram, a right back who can play at left back and predominantly plays at left back. So it very much ties in with the kind of player that Daniel Farke is looking for. Johnson has 92 league appearances for West Ham, approaching that 100 mark, but has been a bit part player under David Moyes. It is said that David Moyes would prefer a loan option for the player, who was only featured once this season and one start for the player in the Premier League this year. As I said, Daniel Farke will be very keen on this player, and it would give Leeds more options at the fullback areas for rotation as well. It means if you've got an injury to Junior Firpo, you can move him from right to left back, and you still have the Archie situation there. But there's more players to talk about in this position just yet. So that's the Ben Johnson one. Wait and see what happens. There is some interest in there. Leeds will be keen on trying to get the player and secure him on a loan. Daniel Farke did say that he is confident by the end of this window we will have got the targets that we're looking for. But again, it appears similar to the summer. Patience is going to be needed in this, and I was fine with that in the summer. I'm not as fine now, because I think January is going to be a very big month with players away on international duty for other clubs. I think it's a great chance for Leeds to catch up, and you'd like to get the business done early and then focus on getting the run. But look, if you get better players in over by being a little bit more patient, be a bit more patient. Fair enough. Let's move on to the next player that's been linked, and this is return to a player linked last week and several times over this window, and that's Josh Doig. According to L'Equipe in France, they are saying that Rangers and Leeds United are still very keen on signing former Hibernian and current Hellas Verona player Josh Doig. Josh Doig is a highly rated left back, and it is a player that Leeds were interested in. They've been continually mentioned with the player, but there's nothing from Daniel Farke or Leeds on this situation. But L'Equipe are saying that Leeds and Rangers will go head to head with Marseille and Torino to try and secure a move for the player. Moving on, just break the incomings up a little bit with an outgoing, and Darko Gyabi has finalised his move away from Leeds United. Gyabi signed by Leeds for £5 million from Manchester City and has been a very high profile player in the under-21 side for them, and has been in excellent form for the under-21s. Didn't shine in the opportunities he's gotten with the Leeds United full first team as such, but hasn't gotten a huge amount of game time, but hasn't really shone the game time that he has had. But he has had a fantastic summer for the England under-20 elite squad as well. win European Championships, as well as just putting in back-to-back consistent performances for them. He's now moved on loan to Plymouth for the remainder of the season, and we will be able to get a good close look at how the player does in the same division as us to see if he's at this level over the course of the rest of the season. So best of luck to Darko Gyabi at Plymouth. On Plymouth as well, the Plymouth manager did say in his press conference that he knows Joe Gelhardt, he still talks to Joe Gelhardt and he rates Joe Gelhardt, but Joe Gelhardt is not a player that they're looking at buying or bringing in on loan in this window. He's pretty much ruled that one out. Daniel Farke has also said on Joe Gelhardt that as far as he is concerned, Joe Gelhardt's going nowhere and is very much part of Leeds' first team squad, and until the squad is bigger or more cover, he'll be hanging on to Joe Gelhardt, which won't be great news for Joffy, but as long as he gets game time when he is fit. He's really struggled for fitness this year. He's had lots of little niggly injuries that have slowed him down, but as long as he can get his fitness sorted and get back on the pitch, I really want to see Joe Gelhardt get back into form. And if you look at Daniel Farke, has done some really good things this year. He's done some things this year that I question as well, but he has done some very good things with certain players. Dan James finishing, for an example. He's bringing Pat Bamford back to form as well. And if you can do that with Joe Gelhardt, that would be a fantastic thing to see. So we'll have to stick a pin in that one and wait and see what happens. Moving on, let's talk about another potential incoming, and according to reports in Scotland, Leeds could be interested in Rangers full-back Borna Barisic. Barisic has played 135 times for Rangers over the course of his career and has been capped 31 times by Croatia as well, and was called out as a very key player in Steven Gerrard's title-winning season for Rangers. In the last couple of seasons, very similar to Glenn Kamara, it's not been as smooth for Barisic and he's not been as good a form, but the same was said about Glenn Kamara when Steven Gerrard went away. These players that he favoured, other managers that have come in, it just hasn't clicked as much for them, and they've been there a while as well. Barisic is out of contract in the summer and can now currently negotiate a pre-contract agreement with any club outside of the UK, and apparently, according to reports in Scotland, French, Italian clubs have already contacted the player around signing for them, as well as Rangers themselves offering a new deal to the player as well, but he hasn't signed anything just yet. The report says that Leeds will be very interested in bringing in the player, who is 31 years of age, which might sound too old for Leeds, and I did have a second check when I saw the age myself. However, Daniel Farke in his press conference yesterday did say that he would like Leeds to have more experience in the squad with this very, very young squad that's just got a lot younger, with Luke Ayling leaving now as well. If you go back and look at other reports, Barisic's link to Leeds goes back as far as Marcelo Bielsa's time, and in 2020 when Leeds had gotten promoted to the Premier League, Marcelo Bielsa was a fan of the player and liked him and rated him pretty highly and did make a move for the player. Reports in 2020 said that Leeds made an £8 million bid for the player, but it didn't turn out to be a successful bid, and it pretty much petered out. But there has been previous interest from Leeds going back to 2020. He was an £8 million bid then. Now it would probably be a loan move with a view to a free transfer. Would Leeds extend it beyond the end of the season? It depends on what the player wants to do, but we'll have to wait and see what there. But it's an interesting one. It would tie in with the left back position. It would also tie in with the age that Daniel Farke is looking for as well. So more to come there, and we'll keep an eye on that. And then finally today, the last one, and the last fullback position is to talk about Connor Roberts at Burnley. Connor Roberts has been linked continuously with Leeds over the course of the January transfer window, and his name is popping up weekly. Vincent Kompany has been asked about it now as well, about his state of that, and the Burnley Express have said that they believe that Leeds' interest in Connor Roberts is strong and is a legitimate one. However, they go on to state that Burnley will not entertain any move for Connor Roberts until at least the end of this weekend coming. Vincent Kompany has had his say on it as well, and he said that he doesn't need this right now and he doesn't need the distraction. He said he got 9 days after the Luton Town game, which is a huge game for them, and they're 100% focused on that match and won't discuss Connor Roberts' future until after that game. But he said after that, we've got a 9-day break and we'll look at the player's situation at that point. So again, Daniel Farke in the press conference yesterday did give off a vibe that Leeds would be patient, and it could be similar to the summer where you could see a lot of action in the last week at the window for Leeds, getting everything lined up and waiting for other dominoes to fall with other clubs before Leeds can make the move for their preferred targets and their better targets. The longer the window goes on, the more you'll start seeing players' fees drop a little bit if there has been no interest in them from other clubs as well, and the teams that they're with are trying to offload them. So there's still a lot of time in this. I get the people that are being uncomfortable about it right now. I completely understand that. I'm in exactly the same boat. I'd be pretty uncomfortable. I would have thought we'd have 1 or 2 in by now in the positions that we really needed to give us that push for January to try and close gaps on. I know Leicester are miles ahead, but Leicester have so many players at the African Cup of Nations. There's an opportunity in January as well. So, Ipswich having their little wobble, but they're bringing in players right away, and then Southampton the same. So it's a big month for Leeds. I would have liked to have seen us got our ducks in a row earlier and given us as many games as possible between now and the end of the season to close those gaps and try and either get the automatic spots or at least put ourselves in a position where we're guaranteed the playoff spots, which I think we will be in the end. Playoffs, it will be the route I think we'll end up going then. But wait and see. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today, folks. I'll be back over the weekend with a match review from the Cardiff game. Have a fantastic weekend. Fingers crossed for 3 points. And I will see you back on Monday for more Leeds Lewis as well. Have a great weekend. Talk to you then. Bye.